Disclaimer: this is a work of fiction created for entertainment purpose only, not affiliated with BTS or Big Hit Entertainment. Characters and storylines are fictional and for entertainment purpose only. And if you are homophobic, then please just leave. Tigers Bunny promote respect and kindness. Kim Taehyung, 29, tall, mysterious, cursed to wander for centuries until love breaks his fate. Soft-spoken but deeply protective. Jungkook, 23, warm, curious art student who lives alone, stubborn yet trusting, drawn to Taehyung despite the danger. Min Yoongi, 31, Jungkook's senior at the cafe, warns him to avoid Taehyung. POV Jungkook. It was the third night in a row I saw him, always in the same place, the lonely bus stop near my apartment. Always at the same time, midnight, and always under the pouring rain without an umbrella. I should have minded my own business, but something about him felt different. His tall frame, the way he stood so still, his eyes too deep, too knowing, as if they have been centuries apart. Jungkook thinking, why is he here again? Is he lost, waiting for someone? That night I finally stepped closer. Jungkook, don't you have an umbrella? The man turned his head slowly, water dripping from his hair, his lips curved slightly. Taehyung, I don't need one. Jungkook, but you are soaked. Taehyung tilted head. Maybe I like being soaked. Strange. Jungkook walked away, but his heart wouldn't stop racing, not from fear, but something he didn't understand. POV Theon. I didn't mean to follow him home, but I did. Not because I was dangerous. No, far from it. I was curious. That boy, Jungkook, he carried a warmth I hadn't felt in centuries. When he closed his apartment door, he should have locked it, but he didn't, so I stepped inside. He turned from the kitchen, holding a glass of water, and froze. Jungkook startled. Yeah, how did you, Theon, calmly? You left it open. Jungkook, that doesn't mean you can just walk in. Theon, you offered me an umbrella earlier, so now I offer you my company. Jungkook stared at Taehyung, cheeks flushing slightly. Jungkook, that's not how this works. Taehyung smirking faintly. It does now. Taehyung stepped closer just enough to hear his breathing change. His heart was racing, and for the first time in years he felt mine try to match it. After that night, Taehyung kept showing up at the bus stop, outside Jungkook building, even at the cafe where he worked. He never explained why, and Jungkook never found the courage to ask. Still, he noticed the little things, the way Taehyung looked at him when he thought Jungkook wasn't watching, how people's eyes followed him with unease like they felt something Jungkook didn't. Jungkook POV. Young warned me, Yongi. That man, his eyes are strange. Stay away, Jungkook. But I couldn't. One rainy night, we sat on the steps outside my apartment. The streetlight above flickered. I finally asked Jungkook, who are you really? He turned his head slowly, his gaze locking with mine. Taehyung quickly. Someone who should not be here, but I couldn't stay away from you. My breath catch. I didn't understand him, but deep down, I didn't want to. POV Jungkook. It happened by accident. One night I saw Taehyung walking ahead of me, his dark coat swaying with each step. The rain was heavy, but he didn't seem to care. As always. Curiosity won. I followed him. He stopped at the old bridge, leaning over to look into the river below. But there was nothing, no reflection. The water showed the empty bridge, the rain, the dark sky, but not him. I froze. Jungkook. You are not human, are you? Taehyung turned slowly, his eyes shadowed but calm. Taehyung, I was once. Jungkook, then what happened? He took a step closer, his voice low, almost carried away by the rain. Taehyung, I was a soldier. I made a choice in a war to save a village. I betrayed my own king. The king's witch cursed me, said I would walk the earth without rest. Without warmth until someone looked at me the way I had once looked at my home. Worth staying for. The rain stung Jungkook's skin, but he couldn't move. Jungkook, and you think that's me? Taehyung smiled, almost sad smile. I don't think, Bunny. I know. Something in his tone made Jungkook's chest itch. He wasn't just cursed, he was lonely. POV Jungkook. After the night on the bridge, something shifted between us. Taehyung still appeared out of nowhere at the bus stop, at my cafe, sometime outside my door, but now he didn't hide the way he looked at me. It wasn't the cold, unreadable stare I first saw, it was softer, almost fragile. One evening, I invited him in before he could sneak his way inside like he usually did, Jungkook smiling quaintly. If you are going to keep showing up, you might as well sit. Theon raising a brow. Permission, how polite. We ended up sitting on the floor with mugs of hot tea. He didn't drink his much, just kept holding it like he liked the wrong. Theon, you remind me of spring. Jungkook laughing softly. That's random. Theon, when you have lived as long as I have, spring is rare. You start to miss it. Something in his voice made me want to close the space between us, and before I could think, I reached over my hand, covering his fingers tightened around mine, a silent thank you. That night, when I walked him to the door, he didn't leave right away. Theon softly, you are the first person I have wanted to stay with in a very long time, and for some reason I didn't tell him to leave. POV Jungkook. The room was quiet except for the sound of rain tapping against the window. My lamp gave off a warm orange glow, casting Theon's face in shadows that made him look both dangerous and breathtaking. He sat on the edge of my bed, watching me with those deep eyes that seemed to see straight into my soul. Theon, low. You are staring. Jungkook whispering. I am trying to figure out if you are real. He smirked, leaning closer until Jungkook could feel his breath ghosting his lips. Theon, touch me, see for yourself. Jungkook hesitated. Then his hands lifted, fingers brushing against his damp hair, trailing down the side of his face. His skin was warmer than usual, as if Jungkook's touch was pulling life into him. Before Jungkook could say anything, his lips captured Jungkook's, slow, unhurried, like he was memorizing every second. The kiss deepened, his tongue sliding past his lips with a hunger that made Jungkook's knees weak. Jungkook, I gasped when his hands found my waist, pulling me into his lap. The shift made me feel his body against mine, solid, firm, and impossibly close. Jungkook, breathless. Young Taehyung, husky, say it again. Jungkook did, and it came out like a plea. His lips trailed down his neck, his teeth grazing his skin just enough to make him shiver. Jungkook's hand clung to his shoulder as his mouth moved lower, tugging at the hem of his shirt. When Taehyung pulled it over his head, the cool air hit his skin. His touch was hot everywhere at once. His palms roamed over Jungkook's chest, down his side, exploring like every inch of him belonged to him. Theon murmuring, "You know how much I have wanted this." Jungkook tilted his head back, his breathing shaky as his lips returned to Jungkook's, more unurgent now. Their bodies pressed closer, every movement slow but deliberate. When Theon's hand slid lower, cupping Jungkook through his pants, Jungkook let out a sound he didn't recognize. Desperate, his thumb stroked lazily, sending shocks through his body. Theon smiling against my tear. So sensitive, Bunny. Jungkook could only know, lost in his gaze of him. His scent, his warmth, the way he whispered his name like a vow. They moved together slowly like the train outside, steady, unstoppable. And now, when it was over, Jungkook was lying in his arm, his heartbeat matching his for the first time. Theon softly. Now you know I'm real. Jungkook smiling quaintly, and mine. POV Theon. For centuries I wouldn't felt nothing. Faces came and went, voices faded like wind through old ruins. But now every smile, every careless laugh from Jungkook left a mark on me, and they terrified me. The curse wasn't gone. I could feel it, a quick pull at the edge of my being, like an invisible thread waiting to drag me away. It was weaker now, but still there. That night he was sprawled across my lap on the couch, sketching something in his notebook while I absent-mindedly played with his hair. Jungkook, without looking up. Young, why do you always look at me like you would afraid I will disappear? I froze, Theon softly, because I am. Jungkook faintly meeting my eyes. Then, don't waste time being afraid. Be here. His words were simple, but they hit harder than my spell. Any curse. I bent down and kissed his forehead. Theon, you are going to ruin me, Bunny. Jungkook, smiling quaintly, then let me. Theon, in mind, I wanted to promise him forever, but forever was a dangerous word for someone like me. Still, for him, I was willing to try. Time skip. They were laying on bed, the rain outside soft. this time almost gentle, like the world was holding its breath with him. Taehyung's arm was wrapped over his waist, his hand resting against his stomach, warm and steady. Jungkook stared at the ceiling, his mind restless. Jungkook, Hyung, if one day you really do disappear, what should I do? Taehyung didn't answer right away. Instead, his fingers slowly traced shapes against Jungkook's skin. Circles, lines, patterns I didn't recognize. Taehyung, you won't have to. I will fight until I stay. Jungkook, even if it hurts. Taehyung, turning me to face him, especially if it hurts. His gaze was so certain, so sure that it made Jungkook. Taehyung, you are the first thing I have wanted in over 300 years. Do you understand that? Jungkook quickly, then don't let go. Taehyung cupped his cheeks, leaning it in until his lips brushed Jungkook's. Taehyung, I won't. Not even death will take me from you. And for the first time, Jungkook believed him. Time skip. POV Jungkook. The storm came without warning. The sky turned the color of ash, and the rain fell harder than I have ever seen. My chest felt tight, like I already knew something was wrong. Then I felt it, a pull in the air, cold and sharp, as if something was tearing him away from me. I ran. My shoes slapped against the wet pavement until I reached the old bridge. Theung was there, gripping the railing, his knuckles white. His body shimmered faintly, not with light, but with something that didn't belong in this world. Jungkook panting, Young, what's happening? Theung voice strained. It's the curse. It's stronger tonight. I can't. The wind roared, drawing his words. Jungkook stumbled forward, grabbing his face in his hands. Jungkook, no, no, you can't leave me. Do you hear me? Theung shaking. Bunny, I don't know if I can stay. Jungkook, tears falling. Then take it, Young. Take my love. Take my life if you have to. Just don't go, crying. Jungkook kissed him hard, desperate. Every ounce of him poured into him. His hands clung to Theung like if he let go he would vanish into the storm. For a moment the world blurred. Jungkook felt Theung's body tense, then the pull stopped. The shimmer faded, his breath slowed, and when Jungkook opened his eyes, Theung was still there, wet hair plastered to his forehead, eyes wide with something like disbelief. Theung whispering, you broke it. Jungkook crying harder. Good, now you can't run away. Theung pulled Jungkook into his arms, holding him so tightly that Jungkook could barely breathe. Theung, I am not going anywhere, Bunny. Not now, not ever. I love you so much, my life. Jungkook hiccuping badly. I love you too, Young. So much. Time skip. Weeks had passed. Night on the bridge. The rain still came often, but now it felt different, softer, warmer, almost like it was blessing us instead of trying to take me away. Theung sat on Jungkook's couch, watching him in the kitchen. He was humming softly, hair messy from just waking up, wearing Theung's shirt that hung too loosely on him. Jungkook glancing at Theung. You are staring again, Theung, smiling faintly, making sure you are real, Jungkook. I could say the same. He brought the cup of tea and curled up beside Theung, tucking himself under his arm like he belonged there, because he did. Theung's hand rested on his thighs, thumb tracing small circles. Theung, do you know what you have done to me? Jungkook teasing. Don't you? Theung softly, save me. Jungkook's expression softened and he leaned in, his lips pushing Theung's in a slow, lingering kiss there. Was no rush, no fear this time, just the quiet certainty that they were both exactly where we were meant to be. They stayed like that for a long while, the worlds outside fading away until there was only them, two souls, one cursed, one stubborn enough to break it. Strange, maybe, but it was there, and there was love. Universal POV. Taehyung was not human, but he wasn't a ghost either. He was a cursed being stuck between life and death. His curse allowed him to exist physically in a human world so people could see and touch him, but his soul was constantly being pulled away, which is why he could never stay in one place for long. To strangers, he looked like a normal man, but his presence always felt a little unreal, warmer, calmer, or sometimes even colder depending on his emotions. Jungkook was special because his emotion and touch were strong enough to enter Taehyung's soul into the human world permanently. So when Jungkook confessed and kissed him at the bridge, it broke the curse. His love became the key that locked Taehyung fully into a human life. End of POV. Jungkook POV. Maybe he was never meant to be human. Maybe he was meant to be mine, and that's why I could see him when others only glanced past. Why I could touch him when the world could barely hold him. My love didn't just find him, it made him stay. The end.